Hello, and welcome to this week's Statehouse Report. I'm CML's Legislative Advocacy Manager, Megan Dollar. Thanks so much for joining us this week, and I'll go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to talk about is a budget amendment. The House passed the budget. That was the second chamber that it went through, so the budget is now going to go to conference committee, which is the Joint Budget Committee. CML partnered up with CCI to make sure that an amendment that got on in the Senate was kept in the House. What this amendment does to the budget was actually double the body camera funding that was initially put in the budget. Currently, right now, there's $3 million for funding for body cameras. This amendment made that some $6 million. And so we were extremely supportive of that. We were successful in getting the votes in the House to put that amendment on in the budget, and the budget did pass with it. However, there's still a long road to go in that we need to make sure that the Joint Budget Committee does keep that amendment on there, and we do know that there is some opposition to it at this point. The next thing I want to talk about is House Bill 1117. This is CML's initiated legislation that creates or allows for local authority to promote affordable housing. This bill is actually in the second chamber now. It's in the Senate and Senate State Affairs. The chair of the State Affairs Committee, Senator Gonzalez, is our bill sponsor, along with Senator Robert Rodriguez. And so we are feeling good about that committee. We are going to be heard in that committee on this Tuesday of this week. And so we will have a number of people there to testify in support and why this bill is really important to solve our affordable housing crisis here in Colorado. Also likely heard this week will be House Bill 1250, which is the 2.0 or the kind of cleanup version of Senate Bill 217, which passed last year, the Law Enforcement Integrity Act. This bill does make a number of positive changes to the act, including creating a standardized form for collection or data collection, and some other things as well. We are currently opposed unless amended because there are a number of concerns in the bill as written, particularly around use of force, when an officer needs to turn their body camera on and off, and the punishments that go along with that should an officer not turn their body cam on in a certain circumstance, as well as cleaning up the context definition when it comes to data collection. So we hope to continue to work on that legislation, but CML is currently opposed. Finally, I want to give you all a heads up on some incoming legislation that should drop in the next week or so. And what this bill does is purports to mandate collective bargaining on local governments. It provides collective bargaining rights for all public employees. So it's not just municipalities, it's also our partners in the Special Districts Association, as well as Colorado Counties, Inc. It also applies those same rights to employees of higher education and school districts as well. We've got real concerns with this legislation as we've seen it. There are certainly some home rule implications in terms of the constitutionality of whether or not you can mandate collective bargaining on home rule municipalities. Additionally, we believe that this is a local decision, and this bill will fly in the face of that by requiring this mandate. So as we've seen the draft so far, because it has not been introduced, we will likely oppose that legislation. I'll go ahead and kick it over to the next lobbyist.
Hi, everyone. This is Heather Stauffer. Today, I'm going to be talking about two bills. The first bill I want to talk about is House Bill 1045, Invasive Pest Control Administration. This bill allows municipalities and other local government departments to voluntarily enter into agreements with the Department of Ag for pest control services, and it also authorizes the Department of Ag to make grants to support local communities who are fighting invasive pests. CML is supporting this bill, and we testified in support of the bill in the Senate Agriculture Committee this week. That bill passed on a 3-2 vote and will make its way onto the Senate floor for second reading. The second bill I want to talk about is House Bill 1008, Forest Health Project Financing. This bill gives intergovernmental groups the authority to establish special improvement districts and levy special assessments on property for forest health projects. It also extends the sunset of the Colorado Water and Power Development Authority to issue bonds to fund watershed protection projects and forest health projects to 2033. CML is supporting this bill Mayor Brookie from the city of Durango did a fantastic job testifying on behalf of CML in the Senate Agriculture Committee, and that this bill passed on a 7-0 vote and will make its way onto the Senate floor. So that's it for me this week. Have a great week.
Hi everybody, Bill Clarine here, and today I will be providing you updates on 3 bills. The first bill is Senate Bill 86, which concerns liquor festivals. This bill was heard on April 15th in the House Finance Committee. And during this hearing, there was a robust discussion on the role of local control and public safety in regulating these festivals. CML is currently neutral after getting an amendment, and that adds an additional layer of local control. However, we have heard some concerns from our clerks and have been relaying those concerns. This bill passed the House committee hearing and will be heard in the House Appropriations Committee before going onto the floor for second reading. The next bill I want to discuss is House Bill 1168, which concerns local government procurement practices. CML was instrumental in a strike bill of this bill that was added in the House Transportation and Local Government Committee a few weeks ago. The strike bill changed the bill into a pilot to examine barriers to diversifying procurement practices. This bill will be heard today in the House Finance Committee, and CML doesn't anticipate any major changes to the bill. I would lastly like to discuss Senate Bill 31, which concerns local governments managing protests and demonstrations. CML is a part of a stakeholder group that has been working with the sponsor on possible amendments to further examine how to positively address protests and demonstrations. This bill has not yet been scheduled for committee. However, I will be sure to keep you all updated. And that concludes my updates for this week. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Megan Killop, a legislative and policy advocate with CML. Here's what I'm working on at the Statehouse. Last week, CML testified in support of 2 measures that are a part of the legislative leadership's COVID relief package. Senate Bill 204 passed out of Senate Local Government on Tuesday, April 13th. This bill provides funding for the Department of Local Affairs Rural Economic Development Initiative Grant Program, also called READY Grants. These grants provide direct assistance to rural communities who have experienced an economic downturn due to COVID-19. House Bill 1263 passed out of the House Business Affairs and Labor Committee on Thursday, April 15th. And this bill would encourage cities and towns to resume important community events, including music festivals and other events that would attract tourism, by offering rebates for incurred costs of organizing and for complying with public health orders and requirements issued in response to the COVID-19 outbreak. Both of these bills are instrumental in helping to stimulate our local economies across the state and help to keep our cities and towns recovering from a hard 2020. That's all for me. As always, please reach out to me with any questions. Thanks.
Thanks so much for joining us this week. We hope that you got some good information out of this, and we'll see you next week.